Good morning, class. Now, last time we finished till Humayun and we talked of how Gulbadan, his sister, had written an account about the Battle of Chausa, where Humayun was defeated by Sher Shah Suri. And though he was defeated, yet the sister wrote about praises. She wrote as if Humayun had given that piece of land for him to just look after the affairs. And she considered him to be very menial to the king. And she posed as if whatever she wrote in favor of Humayun, in spite of Humayun getting defeated in the Battle of Chausa. And who defeated him? The Sur Empire's ruler. That means the Sher Shah Suri. Okay, Sher Shah Suri. He was the founder of the Sur dynasty in India, and it was he who overthrew Humayun to capture Delhi. So we will begin the Sur Empire. The Sur Empire lasted for only 15 years. The most famous ruler of the dynasty was Sher Shah Suri. So we all know that it was Sher Shah who owned for 15 years and started his Sur dynasty, which only lasted for 15 years. Okay? Let us read about it from 1540 to 45. Now, this is the time when he ruled. After him, for 10 years more, there was some chaos and weak rulers, and then it died out. So the power was taken away by Humayun again in 1545, as we can see the second part and the third part of his life. 1545 to 1555, he had recovered those areas. So let us come to the time when Humayun was overthrown by Sher Shah Suri. Now, after defeating Humayun in two battles, Sher Shah Suri became the Sultan of Delhi. He was the son of an Afghan Jagirdar of Sasaram in Bihar. Please underline this. Afghan Jagirdar. He was the son of an Afghan Jagirdar who was stationed at Sasaram in Bihar. He was originally named Farid Khan. So Sher Shah Suri was originally known as, or he was earlier named as, his parents had kept his name Farid Khan, but was given the title of Sher after he killed a tiger with his sword. So once he killed a tiger with his sword, sword is talwar. Then it was that time that he was started to be known as Sher Shah. Okay, in 5 years he built up a kingdom that stretched from Jhelum to Brahmaputra. Now Jhelum is in the north of India and Brahmaputra is in the east of India. From there to here, all across, he had built up his empire, and the Himalayas to Narmada. So, from the Himalayas till the central uh, Deccan area, the Narmada River flows till there. His brilliant career was cut short in 1545 when he died in an explosion. There was an explosion and he died in that. So he had a brilliant career as a king. In short, 5 years, Sheikh Shah improved the administration of his territories. So he looked after the administration, he improved it. He was he was concerned about the welfare of the subject. So not only he territorially expanded, but he also kept in mind the welfare of his people. He ordered for his soldiers. He ordered that his soldiers should cause no injury to the crops when they marched. So see this, how humanitarian he was. No injury to the crop. He respected cultivators of the enemy territory also. So this shows how good he was. He even respected the cultivators who were cultivating land in the territory of an enemy also. Sher Shah Suri's history was written by Abbas Khan. Please underline. We come to know about Sher Shah Suri because of the writings of Abbas Khan. Please remember the date in 1579 AD, which gives many details about his administration. It doesn't detail how he ruled, okay? There was a general order that anyone in need of food should be fed at the king's kitchen. That means nobody could sleep hungry. He had allowed everyone who was without food to be shared from the king's kitchen only. He built an excellent network of roads like the Grand Trunk Road, GT Road, which is still seen even today, the Grand Trunk Road. It was he who initiated it and called it Sadak-e-Azam or highway. Okay, it was the first built highway, Grand Trunk Road. It ran from Sonargaon in Bengal to Lahore in Punjab. Can you imagine? Bengal is somewhere in the east, and then Lahore is in Pakistan. From here to here, a big road was built. It's called Grand Trunk Road. Okay, please underline the place Sonargaon in Bengal, Lahore in Punjab, and then to Multan. Sorry, it went further also to Multan. Okay, it is in Afghanistan. Another road connected Lahore to Multan. The third road linked Agra to Jodhpur and Chittor. For the convenience of travelers, on every road at a distance of 2 kilos, about 8 kilometers, that means after every 8 kilometers, 2 kilos in that time they had unit. Okay, he made a sarai. Now, what is a sarai? It's a guest house for people to stay and take shelter. Provision was made for water, beds, food, and grains for the horses. Merchants were treated well. All these greatly helped in the growth of trade and commerce. He also introduced a new coin called the rupiah. Please underline this. Rupiah. He had introduced a new coin, new currency called rupiah. And at the same time, above we know that he built great roads connecting places together for long distances. He even built sarais at every regular interval of 8 kilometers for where people could get water, beds, and food, etc., and grains for horses. The merchants were treated well. This helped in the trade and commerce to grow immensely. Okay, when a currency was introduced called rupiah, it remained a standard coin for centuries. He was an impartial dispenser of justice and a great builder. The Purana Killa in Delhi and his tomb at Sasaram in Bihar are splendid pieces of
बस खुल
architecture.
रहा है, वॉइस नहीं खुल रहा है, वॉइस तो इवन ऑनलाइन भी नहीं चला रहा है, फीस ले रहा है, पौने
ऑनलाइन
2 लाख फीस है और ऑनलाइन भी नहीं चल
चला रहा है, ऑनलाइन नहीं चला रहा है. Who is opening the mic and talking all this?
हाँ
Ma'am,
हाँ और आगे
ma'am,
नहीं
please.
खुल रहा है, एकदम नहीं खुल रहा है, चाहिए वो नहीं खुल रहा, ये मना कर रहा है, बच्चा सही है, बाबा है ना वो थोड़ी, बस ये मैंने
Your parents, please tell your parents. Let me know who's
कहा
opening the mic. Whose mic is open?
3 दिन के अंदर भेजना है, विदिन 3 डेज, मतलब सैटरडे आपको गेट पे देना है। हाँ, ये बात है।
Lot of
जब हमने
disturbance.
भेजे नहीं तो क्या भेजे क्या दीजिए, बताइए रीजन, कोविड चल रहा कोई रीजन वो थोड़ी है ना। हाँ तो वही मैं कहा आपसे एक बार पूछ लूं, ठीक है।
Somebody is on call.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम, ओके
Please switch
बाय।
off. Please switch off or move from the call, please. You're disturbing the others. Thank you. Okay. So he also introduced the coin called rupiah, and then it was the Purana Killa in Delhi and the tomb of Sasaram in Bihar, his own tomb, are the splendid pieces of architecture of his time. We come on to Akbar the Great. You can see here Akbar the Great. Okay, let us go for him. The longest details for this chapter are about Akbar. Okay, now Akbar, his reign began from 1556 to 1605. Now, after 1545, it was Humayun who came back to the throne. He ruled and then he died in a library at Purana Killa. Okay, Sher Mandal library. Now we come on to Akbar. He took over the throne from Humayun. He was Humayun in 1556. He took the throne 1605. Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar was born
आवाज ही
on
नहीं आ रही। नहीं
15.
चल रहा है वो।
Remove that child from the group now. He's disturbing a lot. Who's the one? Who's the one on a call and disturbing? Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar was born on 14th November 1542 AD in Amarkot in Sindh. Please remember his date. Akbar accompanied his father Humayun and mother Hamida Banu Begum to Kabul, where he was left behind and his parents went off to Persia. When his father returned to India, he came with him. So it was during the time when Humayun had fled away from Sher Shah Suri after getting defeated in the Battle of Chausa. So this is the time when Akbar was born, and he had to stay with Humayun and his mother Hamida Banu Begum in Kabul. Okay, then he was left alone there, and the parents had moved on to Persia. And once they regained the capital of Delhi, they again called back their son, and he came back to Delhi along with them. In 1551 AD, please remember this, Prince Akbar used to take lessons from Mullah Sada. Please underline Mullah Sada. He also learned horse riding and sword play. He, however, never learned to read and write. That means he learned the various arts of fighting, but he never could read and write. He was illiterate. He enjoyed hearing others read out to him. He also enjoyed painting during his time. At the age of 13, he was appointed governor of Punjab. At a very young age, okay, he was given the post of a governor in Punjab. Okay, Akbar commissioned Abul Fazal to write the history of his rule. Abul Fazal, his father and brother, were part of Akbar's court. So Abul Fazal's father and Abul Fazal's brother were also the part of Akbar's court. Abul Fazal was a Mansabdar in Akbar's court and closely watched the activities of the time. He was a great admirer of the emperor and produced many works. The most well known is Akbar Nama or History of Akbar. Okay, he took him 7 years to it took him 7 years to complete it. The original manuscript contained a number of paintings supporting the text. The other great work is N.A. Akbari, which consists of 3 volumes written in great detail. The book has drawings and sketches that help us to understand the text, and it covers every aspect of administration. There was another court historian, Badauni, please underline his name, who was highly critical of Akbar's policy. So here it was Abul Fazl, who was an ardent admirer of Akbar, and he wrote 2 books, Akbarnama, giving the entire history of Akbar's life and his reign. And many times he also replenished this work with the drawings and paintings to make them look more authentic. Okay. Then the other book was N.A. Akbari. Okay. All these books were written in praises of Akbar. N.A. Akbari has 3 volumes which are written in great detail about Akbar. Then There was another writer at that time, court writer, Badauni, but he was critical about his work, Akbar's work. That means whatever was wrong, he told that it was wrong. Okay. Then Akbar and Bairam Khan. Let us deal with the new heading. The territory inherited by Akbar had no definite kingdom. Kabul and Bengal were almost independent. Malwa, Gujarat, and Rajput were no longer loyal to Delhi. In Deccan, there were five independent states, and in the far south, there was Vijayanagar kingdom. So now see, the time when Akbar was looking at India, it had no definite shape. Okay, the kingdom of Kabul and Bengal, they were almost independent. That means they were not ready to be governed by anyone. Then Malwa, Gujarat, and Rajputs, they were also no longer loyal to the king. They were they had proclaimed their independence. Okay. In the Deccan also, the states were divided, and there was a kingdom called Vijayanagar kingdom, which was very powerful at that time. With the victory at the Battle of Panipat in 1556 and the subsequent defeat of the successors of Sher Shah, Akbar was ready to become the master of North India. So here comes the second Battle of Panipat, 1556. Okay, first was 1526 between Babur and Ibrahim Lodi. Now, second battle of Panipat was fought in 1556. He was succeeded and he put an end to Sher Shah Suri. Okay, then Akbar was ready to become the master of North India, but Akbar was still too young to realize and take on the responsibilities of administration. So it was Bairam Khan who acted as the prime minister and controlled the army and administration. Bairam Khan was arrogant and his rude behavior had made many enemies. Encouraged by his family members, Akbar told Bairam Khan that he wanted to take over the reins of the kingdom in his own hands. On a pilgrimage to Mecca, Bairam Khan was killed by one of his many enemies in Gujarat. After 4 years of tutelage under Bairam, Akbar became his own master and made Agra his capital. So let us deal about Bairam Khan. He was the governor. He controlled the administration because Akbar was too small at that time to take up the administration of the country and to control the army. So he became the prime minister, not the governor, sorry, the prime minister. And it was he who was very rude and arrogant that his behavior had made many enemies. Now, Akbar was constantly told by his family members that he should stop Bairam Khan. So one day, finally, Akbar took up the kingdom's responsibilities under him and he asked Bairam Khan to leave for a holy pilgrimage. Now, he went to Makkah. Bairam Khan, on his way, he was killed by the enemies in Gujarat. And then, after 4 years of tutelation, means after 4 years of getting tuition in the various arts from Bairam Khan, how to administer a kingdom, how to follow the policies, etc., and how to win neighbors. All these things were tutored by Bairam Khan to Akbar. And later on, Akbar declared himself the master and made Agra his capital. Instead of Delhi, he took up Agra. Okay. Then we talk of Akbar's conquest. Akbar set out on a planned expansion, and this took him the rest of his life. He conquered Malwa in 1561. He underlined the place and the date. Gondwana in 1564. Chittor and Ranthambore fell in 1568. Akbar subdued Gujarat in 1573. In commemoration of his victory over Gujarat, he built the Buland Darwaza at Fatehpur Sikri. Now, please remember the dates, the places he conquered. He conquered Malwa in 1561, Gondwana in 1564, Chittor and Ranthambore in 1568, Gujarat in 1573, and then after the conquest, he built a place which is still there in Fatehpur Sikri. He built Buland Darwaza as a remembrance. Commemoration means to remember the victory of Gujarat. He did that. Akbar was able to capture Bihar and Bengal in 1576. So see, he has nearly captured everything, thus crushing the last Afghan kingdom. In Kabul, he defeated his half-brother Mirza Hakim. Kabul, his half-brother, that means brother called cousin, or not exactly cousin, half-brother means from some other mother, but father was same, his name was Mirza Hakim, and handed over the administration to his sister. He asked his sister to take over. Perhaps this was the first time that a Mughal princess was allowed to administer an important region. Akbar was able to fix the scientific frontier of the empire with the conquest of other areas of northwest by 1587 AD. Northwest areas were also taken over by him by that time. Ahmednagar in the Deccan was annexed in 1600. Ahmednagar in 1600. Chand Bibi, the aunt of the child ruler, heroically defended the kingdom, but the nobles accused her of treachery and murdered her. But Akbar could not have complete control of Ahmednagar during his lifetime. So Ahmednagar was under Chand Bibi, a female, and it was she that she took up a fight heroically, but then she was treacherously killed and murdered. Treacherously means धोखे से. Okay, that means उसके संग धोखा किया था उसके nobles ने. The nobles treacherously had told the position and everything, and finally she was murdered. Okay, we stop here for today. In the next class, when we meet at 11:30, we continue. Thank you, class.